welcome to the second of Biz Group's Industry Insight seminars. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Mihir Mukherjee, a very good friend of Biz Group, Vice President of Global Sales at one of our partners, ExperiencePoint. Mihir, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Chris. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, my friend.
One final question for you, really, at the moment, in light of how the world has changed and how working processes and working patterns have changed. The days of everyone being in the office, chatting by the water cooler, the office gossip around the end of the pods, all those kind of things, the things that can kind of fuel creativity and innovation. It's much harder to achieve that when you're on a Zoom call or when you're remote working and all that kind of stuff. So how do you think you're going to be able to foster that innovation and creativity that we strive for when we're operating in a much more restricted environment potentially, and we're looking potentially at reducing that collaborative team effort?
Mm-hmm. It's actually a question that I ask myself all the time, because I've started this job during the pandemic. And so I actually haven't met physically 60% of my team. I haven't met you, Chris. And, it feels like I've known you forever, right? So, what would have been my first month on airplanes and meeting with partners and customers has become, a month of being on Zoom calls and trying to build relationships from that perspective. But to bring it back down to business, I think it has been the greatest equalizer that we've seen in a while. And what that means is everybody now is forced to be on Zoom calls. So you could be in Amazon or you could be, Joe in a garage, but you still have the same platform to engage with your customers. Well, maybe that's a bit diametrically opposite in terms of size and scale and scope, but you get the general gist of it, which is that everybody is virtual now. And with that comes an ability to innovate within your businesses in terms of how you engage with clients and how you engage with partners and other stakeholders to build that culture of trust and authenticity. And I think as long as you understand and respect the fact that everybody's going through the same kind of mental trauma, everybody's going through the same kind of personal challenges with homeschooling and children at home, and people walking in your backgrounds all the time, relationships actually become a lot more authentic, is what I'm finding, than not. Because you're right now sitting in my home and we haven't met before, and vice versa, as opposed to being in an office setting, which in some ways might feel a little sterile. So when you build a relationship, through the worst of times, I think those are the best of relationships. But when it comes to actually collaborating across geographies, I actually think that virtual platforms like some of the things that we're doing at EP or that you're doing with Biz Group are great levelers, because now people in China can be on the same workshop with people in the US, in the same workshop with people in London, and they can be collaborating and creating together using the same tools that everybody else has access to. So no one is at a disadvantage saying that, Chris and I are in one room, so we're having water cooler conversations, but someone else in our organization sitting in China, so they've got a break because they're on call now. Right? Everybody's on the same page now. And I think that is building not just cross-functional collaboration, but cross-geographical collaborations, which is pretty phenomenal to see. And we've seen customers work with that in the best possible way.
I completely agree. And as you say, we've struck a very good relationship, having never actually met. I think this is one of the 2020 horrendous year in many, many different ways, but one of the very good things that has come out of 2020 is, as you say, the ability to be able to bring people together, and the platform leveler, the fact that we're all sitting here in box rooms and bedrooms, as you say, with kids running past and things going on and Zoom backgrounds and all the other kind of stuff. For me, that is, as you say, the best thing about this, from looking at what could have been a very, very, and indeed is a very traumatic and horrendous time for many people. The ability for people to be able to come together and be collaborative, be creative, be innovative, that's a fantastic accelerant, I think, for a lot of future conversations that potentially would be happening.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Mihir, I think we have to end it there, but thank you very much. I know you're 9 hours behind me, so early in the morning for you. It's very much appreciated you joined us today. Thank you. And we look forward to speaking to you again in the future.
Absolutely, Chris. Thank you for having us.
Our pleasure.